Hello and welcome to session 7 of Against the Shadow. Would someone like to recap what happened last time? We have an incredible video from Caius. If you would like to watch that, definitely do. It'll get you hyped up, but maybe for those who haven't watched it. Someone want to recap?
Anyone else, or I can start reading off my notes.
Take it away, man. Yeah, if you have notes, it'd probably be more useful if you do it.
So we entered it. We were in the halls of Thranduil to begin with, and the tensions were incredibly high. And you got put into a room with food and wine as much as you want, but you couldn't go anywhere for what I think was like weeks, possibly like 2 at most. While Cynric and Na were healed to personally by Thranduil and other wood elves. And this carried on and on and on, and they came in and out of consciousness, and you very, very rarely interacted with the elves. I think there was some attempts to sneak about, but they were just far too good at watching you every time you opened the door, so you thought better of it. And then everyone was brought together, and Thranduil talked about the Nazgash, the corrupted fireblade of that of the Black Numenorian, and we got told that he's going to come back sometime, which is fantastic news, and he's going to be pissed because he doesn't have his nice sword anymore. You also got revealed to you that Flossnark was your troll-slaying blade, and that gave Thranduil an idea, it seems, that we should venture out and go hunt down something that was riling up the spiders in southern Mirkwood. So everyone was very respectful, Cynric included, which was a first for him in authority, but he has a heavy debt to pay off now in his mind. So we ventured through, got heavily lost through some, I think, fantastic rolls by Faroth and some sensing of the earth. Managed to find our way through, and there was a bit of tree climbing going on. And big personal like growth moment that Cynric left Ciara behind, not to get slaughtered by spiders. Yeah, we roamed around. We had a lovely sit around a creek with an incredibly, like, almost godly elk type figure, before venturing into the awfulness that is southern Mirkwood, and so many spiders, like as big as horses, pulling us apart and laying webs down, and tiny spiders running all over us as we fought this weird shade-esque, spider-esque, Numenorian kind of man creature that was just hideous and horrible. And we barely came out of that alive, as seems to be our way of things. And pretty much the very last thing was Cynric kicking the remains of that into a pit and burning it, and that was about where we got to, I think.
Lovely. Yeah, so I think we'll pick it up then with you standing around this pit as this creature burns whatever it was.
Were several of our party unconscious at this point, or has everyone managed to sort of just be very, very low on health?
I'm still up. I'm just below half health. So
okay, because I think several of us had fallen in the fight and then perhaps made it up. And there was the horrible injuries done.
Yeah, Syrian has a festering wound from a spider bite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's
Syrian's stomach is gone.
I think the job is done. Perhaps we should return before the spiders regain their courage.
Absolutely. And with all haste, it doesn't appear that Syrian is in the best of shape. Perhaps we will call on that elven healing once more.
Well, if they can Hillamogul blade. I'm sure a spider bite will be child's play.
They'll be used to it.
So I do hate to go through that process again. We're already in debt enough to these wood elves.
Syria needs healing, and there will be no place better than the halls of the Elven King to know how to treat spider wounds. Let's stop talking. Baragon tries to heave him onto his back, but fails. Well, wobbles a few steps, and then says, "Now it's somebody else's turn."
How do you look now? Do you wish to bear our brother, or should I carry him?
Nar nods as he spits out a mouthful of venom and heaves him onto his shoulders.
Nah, you look like you've got more poison in your veins than blood. That
Maybe,
I
but
I don't know how you are still standing. You truly are. The dwarves were made of the mountains, and you truly are made as sturdy as a mountain.
I feel a little worse for the wear, but I'll be fine.
Right. Well, you bear him for a bit, and I'll take him after. Let us head back.
As we turn to go, Faroth just takes a moment, looks into that pit once again, and spits, and then turns his back and follows the rest of them.
It fizzes up like a little blast of fire. And you think you see the shape of an eye just for a moment within as you walk away.
Nice.
Just as a memento as well, Baragon cuts off the leg of one of the giant spiders, and if it's light enough, he'll just sort of fold it up and put it in his backpack.
Yep, definitely. You can begin making your way back towards the halls of the Elven King. You're not hassled by spiders, amazingly, as you pass. It seems that they bear some sort of fear or maybe a grudging respect as you pass. Sometimes you'll see them up above, but they'll kind of skitter away deep into the trees as you pass. And after the grueling events of getting here now, you feel like you can find your way back without too much issue. You're becoming more and more familiar with Mirkwood after the time you spent here, and you're able to find your way. Takes possibly a week. It was about that on the way down here to find your way back, stopping in the evenings to rest as best you can. Syrian does seem to be struggling with this wound. Kind of goes in and out of consciousness. There's a fever, a heavy fever lying on him, but you do your best to help him along as best you can, finding herbs and poultices and the like to try and keep his fever down. But he definitely needs attention that you do not possess. And it's about a week of travel until you arrive once more at the edge of the woodland realm, where you're greeted by an elven patrol who are happy to escort you back to the halls of the Elven King. When there, you are welcomed and given whatever you would like. Syrian is taken away to be taken care of, and you were given a bath, hot meals, and all that nice stuff. And you were invited to a dinner, a feast this evening with the king to discuss what is to be done next and to discuss his, and this is what the elf says, his gratitude for your work.
Baragon looks round at his companions with a look of surprise on his face. Gratitude?
A feast?
Our minds are on different matters.
Um, well, perhaps we will yet be old friend and live up to that. I think there is much more work to be done, though.
So you can spend a day kind of resting and relaxing, washing all these spider bites off your body. For once, finally again in clean clothes, and relax to some extent. Get some good sleep, a little nap before the evening feast. You've been left clothes that are appropriate to wear for a feast, as you don't possess anything like that with you. So you're given like elven robes and the like that you can wear.
Nice.
It won't do to sit in your smelly leathers at the table of Thranduil.
That is so cool.
How am I ever to fit into this?
This stern-faced, blonde-haired elf kind of looks at the clothes he's brought you, and then looks at you, and he says, "I'll get something for a child," and then leaves, and returns a few moments later with like smaller elven robes that might fit you. They're a bit tight around the waist.
When he returns, Nar will be standing there in his underclothes with his axe over his shoulder, giving him a stern look.
I'm sure the Gondorians or something are used to wearing such flowery robes as this. Cynric looks kind of uncomfortable in something so loosely fitted.
Yep.
It is comfortable beyond anything you've worn before. It's like finest silks and incredibly light. It's definitely more comfortable than anything that you possess. Although maybe a bit lighter than you'd like.
This feels like wearing my birthday suit. Okay. Pinning on my brooch of the white tree. That's my one symbol of Gondor that I wish to continue wearing and think is fit for an elven feast.
Faroth is actually, I would say that he isn't accustomed to wearing this kind of thing often, but I like to think that the Dunedain have something that might be a bit similar, but not made of silk, like simple linens maybe, for the times where they'd have their own council. So he is kind of used to the clothing, but he smiles at the idea of Nar being brought children's sizes, and he sort of mutters, mainly to himself, maybe a spoilt child at least, looking at Nar's girth.
Cynric will continue to wear his the EO helm, the band circlet that he has with the horse, like fashioned head on the front of it, but he'll take the clothes.
And Beregond will take a special care over his appearance, trying to get himself clean shaven. Sort of, his skin will be scraped pink, and everything. He'll be sort of glowing with scrubbing by the time he's appearing at this feast.
I barely recognise you, Beregond.
We can't all have that travelled outdoor looks of you Northerners.
You do notice, however, that Faroth would have also had been shaved. He probably wouldn't have wanted to, but it was kindly suggested by their elven hosts. Sorry, Lloyd, I talked over you.
Oh, absolutely. No problem at all. What about Cynric? Would you shave? I know that Nar won't.
Yeah, in fact, and he'll comment when he sees if the others have shaved about they must have had some kind of unseemly accident.
I think he might. I think he'll come over to it eventually, because they're not like necessarily unclean or unkempt people, and he is very far from home. So, like, it won't be clean shaven, but it'll be, I don't know, styled or kept,
neatened up, maybe.
Yeah.
You'll be brought before or through, rather.
Just one last thing. As I'm doing my hair and preparing my hair, I'll try and get a little bit of. I'll look out of the room and see if I can see an elven woman to ask her to go and plait my hair for me.
Do you need a minute? Should we have another half an hour of styling our characters? At this point?
Baragon needs an elven comb.
The elf girl kind of smiles and like laughs lightly, and she says, "Of course, it'll be my pleasure." And she'll sit with you and plait your hair with ridiculous skill.
Yes. I'll be gently trying to chat her up throughout the whole exercise, but I don't. But I guess I'm facing this sort of elven aloofness and unable to see whether my usual chatting up techniques are having any kind of effect on her.
You would notice, all of you, as you're kind of dealing with these elves getting ready and stuff like that, that there's a sort of a humor there that wasn't there before, like a very dry sort of humor, but nonetheless, there are at least a few smiles cracked from the elves who before had been stern-faced pretty much throughout. So you feel a sort of softening to the elves.
I'll keep making references to Luthian and Beren and other,
Yeah, I guess you mentioned that those are beautiful stories, but stories, legends. After you spent the guts of 2 hours getting ready, I suppose, you will be brought through the halls, and beneath the throne room, there's a large sort of feasting hall with this beautiful table and chairs all around, and it's groaning with food. There's it's mostly vegetarian, but there is a sort of large venison feast there as well. While most of the elves are vegetarian, the elves of Mirkwood, they like to hunt, and nothing goes to waste. And so you can sit. There are what you can only describe as a comical amount of forks and knives and spoons laid out before you, probably the likes of which you've never seen. And you can see all the elves like expertly using these weird little tools to like crack an egg with, or using different ones for different leaves of salad and everything. It's extremely complicated, but I guess you can try and keep up.
Is it like a skill challenge? See if we can acquit ourselves at the table.
Yeah, let's do that.
Wonderful.
Sleight of hand.
Yes, we'll go sleight of hand. We'll go lore. Let's see, persuasion, deception. Any of those are good.
I'll use my knowledge of law to try and hold me out here.
Out of sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, out of respect for his host and their fine offering, Nar will not use his fingers, but he's not going to try hard to like figure out all the various things. He's just going to pick what will fit what he wants to eat and go from there.
Lloyd, can I use stealth to hide my clear barbarism at the table? Okay, that's 14.
Okay.
So it's all right, but they probably know.
I get 24 by law.
Wow. Yeah. So you actually you're knowledgeable about so many things, so many strange things, Baragon, and you remember a passage in one of the ancient Elven stories that talks about the niceties of eating with the various cutleries and stuff, and you know which fork is for which salad leaf and what you use to eat a cucumber with and all this different stuff. And so you're acquitting yourself perfectly.
While keeping on making references to Luthian and Beren with any pretty
I don't think I have any of the skills acquired. Like, if it's an animal handling, I could do that. They're dead animals. If a survival,
that's too far a stretch.
Or perception to see what they're doing and copy it, like, or an
Perception
insight.
would work. Yeah.
I'll basically be copying Syrian, seeing that he's got a handle on it. I've just realised I haven't got dice out, because that would be useful. And that's a 19 to copy Syrian.
Yep. Baragon, you mean, right?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, so you're able to, you're a quick study and you're kind of watching, and as he picks up a fork and like uses it to open up an oyster, you kind of look and you're like, okay, that's obviously what you do with that, and you can copy. So you're eating exactly what Baragon eats, whether that's what you want to eat or not, but you're not looking like a fool doing it.
If he makes a mistake, I make a mistake. It is literally like one step behind.
And Faroth, you're managing to keep it mostly quiet. You're kind of waiting till people are engaged in conversation, then you like pick up something quickly and like put it in your mouth and chew politely.
That's amazing. Great.
So Thranduil will kind of begin talking, and he'll talk about the history of Mirkwood and its warrior culture, and how he, when he was a young elf, was there at the Battle of Barad-dûr, and how he fought the darkness there, and how he went and fought these great serpents in the north, and that the hunting is a vital part of the Mirkwood life, the Woodland Realms life. And many of the other elves are kind of like politely nodding, or occasionally there's like a sort of like polite little golf clap that happens. And then he would segue into saying, and this tradition has been upheld recently by our new guests, something that I must say I did not anticipate happening. I had misgivings about you and your companions, all of you. Most commonly, those who come here for ill reason. But I'm glad to see that you do your utmost to battle the shadow that has taken a hold of my kingdom and this wood that is precious to me, this wood of which I wish all life within, all goodly life, could live peacefully and happily. That is not the case. There's too much darkness here now. The fortress of Dol Guldur in the south, the hold in the mountains, and the spiders to the south, all of it has turned Greenwood the Great into Mirkwood, something that irks me greatly. And so I thank you, genuinely, for what you have done.
Nara's eyeing him suspiciously as he's speaking in this kind manner.
He says, there is a tendency in my people to look out for our own and to ensure that our lands are kept safe. And I have done that. The Woodland Realm is safe and clean and beautiful. But this whole wood, Greenwood the Great, all of it must be kept clear and clean and free of the taint of the shadow. And you have gone a long way to do just that. And so I present you with gifts. And he kind of like does a motion. He says, for Baragon of Menace Ithil, I have a fine pair of boots. They are created with the artifice of my people and will always be warm and dry. They can help you scale any wall, balance on any surface, if that is your intent. And he says, with a little bit of a grin, like he knows that you like to steal. And he says, furthermore, since you were so fascinated by the combs of my people, I provide you with this. And like he, from within his sleeve, like pulls out this beautiful little comb. It's beautiful to behold, and you'll find yourself much more convincing when speaking to the enemy. And so like these boots and this comb are brought to you, Baragon.
I stand up and bow to Thranduil. Whilst he was speaking of shadow entering his realm, I was distant and preoccupied, but his words have brought me back to the present. And but I'm a little bit confused by the attention. For once, a little bit confused by the attention, and I just say thank you. But then that moment of confusion passes as I try to slot the comb into my hair, and then find I can't reach it, and ask one of the elf maidens to do it for me.
This same maiden who had plaited your hair kind of like smiles and takes the comb and like places it within. It does look very nice.
I thank her and I sit down and wait for the next.
He says, for Cynric, the mourner of Rohan, I thought about giving a gift to you, but if I know the men of Rohan as I think I do, a gift for your steed would be much kinder. We've created a suit of barding for your horse, Siaru. And they bring out two elves carrying this beautiful silvery barding. And he says, it is my hope that your kind and gentle steed, when well protected, the two of you will go on to do great things and redeem the realm of Rohan. I know that it is difficult for you to separate yourself from your mount. You are one and the same. So hopefully this will make it easier for you to banish the shadow.
Sin is speechless. Like, he might try to clear his throat, but no sound comes out. And he gives like the smallest of nods towards Thranduil and then the people who presumably put the barding somewhere close nearby to him.
Yeah, it's like extremely fine mail, like tiny little rings, very silvery, and like around the
light, I imagine.
Yes, yeah, and around the edges, there's like beautiful sort of embroidery and like metal work and stuff like that. It looks spectacular.
Like liquid silver.
Yeah,
he probably runs his hand over it like it's some fine fabric or something.
For Syrian, who recovers even now in our comfortable beds, I have a spear. And an elf walks forward like the spear held up in front of him. This is Talt Lass. The spear is a relic of my people. And you can see that it's like sort of very long with an incredibly long blade at the end. And he says, hopefully this will assist you in the battle. He says, but furthermore, I have a book from my own personal library detailing much of the knowledge that we have of the enemy. And it's this beautiful leather-bound book that he hands, places next to the spear at the empty seat where Syrian would be, only for he's recovering. And he says, for Nar of the dwarves, oft there has been a rift between our peoples, a mistrust that has been difficult to mend. I provide you with this cloak created by my people in Lothlorien. It should help you to sneak when you don't wish to simply fight everything before you, as your people oft have a tendency to do. And it's this lovely green cloak. It's got this like lovely clasp at the top, and it's handed off to you.
Nar looks it over and accepts it with a nod and says, it is a gift that I'm sure my companions will appreciate greatly.
And what of you, Nar? Will you appreciate it?
As you say, it is not my instinct to avoid a fight, but no offense to my companions, they are not as a sturdy stock as I. So I suppose there may be an occasion where it may be to benefit to do so. So in that spirit, I appreciate your gift. However, Your Highness, if I may be so bold to ask for another.
An eyebrow raise.
It is a question, information that I wish to know. Perhaps it is not a great thing, but it is a matter of some import to myself. On our journey, a short time into it, before we fell upon the spiders, we came across this beast in the forest. And at that, he'll kind of slide back in his chair and rise up to his full height, which of course is very short, and hold up his arms wide and tall as he describes the creature. I wish to know more of this.
So like a hush falls over the table, and Thranduil like sits back in his throne at the end of it, and he whispers, "The Forest Father. This. I have only seen him once in all my years, all my centuries in this wood. Only once have I seen him. It's said that he is the spirit of Greenwood the Great. I know little about him. None of us do. He is a rare sight and a beautiful one."
Indeed, if this being the case, I do agree that there is a shadow that's come over to your land, but this creature is evidence enough of there's still much of this original land well and good here.
Well said, Master Dwarf. There is beauty that lies within this forest, more beauty than I think even I realize. You are blessed indeed to have seen this Forest Father. And there's like a moment where many of the elves are like a solemn sort of nod. And then he says, "Faroth, I have never had faith in men, least of all the men of Numenor, who I saw to be faithless, craven, traitors to the ancient pacts. I thought long and hard about what to give you. I thought about letting you keep that blade that you carry." He turns his back, kind of rising from the seat he's sitting in. "And yet I thought perhaps you'd prefer something of your own people." And he reaches out behind the throne and pulls this huge greatsword out. Blackened, no more, silvery and fine. The hilt now has this design of a tree with stars. This corrupted blade once belonged to the Black Numenorian. We have been gone for some time, and I have seen that there is light within this blade, that there is a greatness. It has been reforged. The steel is bright and shining. Its hilt is bound in leather and gold. And the tree, a symbol of your people, above the pommel. I have not had faith in the line of Numenor for many centuries. All I have seen there is weakness and corruption, and yet I see in you a spark, an ember that may someday burst into a fire of greatness. And here, then, is Lachduin, the northern flame, a sword of your ancestors.
Wow. Faroth stands and he pauses. And then he looks to Thranduil. I think this might be the first time he's ever looked him in the eye, properly met his gaze. For fair is this Elven King. And he says, "Majesty, today you have regaled us with tales of how you fought in the alliance of elves and men. And I, for one, can see the failings of my people, and I own that. Let this gift be a symbol that, yes, indeed, there is that spark, and there is still hope that both our people can once again be united."
Well said. And then he raises his hands and he says, "It is with pleasure that I name all of you elf friend. You are welcome in these halls any time that you choose. Always here will you find nourishment and rest and peace and safety."
Cynric grabs one of possibly many fancy goblets around him of various liquids, holds one up, and says, "It is an honor, Elf King." And then he tips the glass slightly in his direction.
The elves do the same, raise them high, and Thranduil even inclines his head almost imperceptibly, but that is the most dramatically polite gesture that Thranduil has ever made in his many centuries, I imagine. And there's a drink, and then many, many more as the feast continues into the night with celebrations. Yes. So I guess I'll tell you what all this stuff does. You're probably dying to know what your items do.
Sure.
Can I just say one last thing about the evening celebrations? I think Faroth is looking around the table nervously as the celebrations sort of continue. And finally he stands, and I'm not going to do it, but Faroth sings. Because this is Tolkien, right?
Yes.
He sings a song about his people and the elves and how they were once united. But yeah.
Sort of a mournful, lilting sort of tune.
Yeah.
Cynic has spent most of the evening almost too choked to say more than like 3 words, so he's not joining in.
You'll find this elven wine to be potent, shockingly so. And if you were to drink with the intent of being drunk, it will happen shockingly quickly. As elven
Nar
constitutions
will
are.
very much enjoy himself eating and drinking his full.
Yep. The food seems to be infinite, and the drink just as infinite. And you can drink and be merry for the evening, winding down with some songs of mournful times of when the world was a better place.
Well, at some point, when the drink began to overtake him, he would probably belt out a few tunes as well, but they would be very loud and boisterous, celebratory.
Yeah. You would see, to your, I guess, amazement, a couple of the elven nobles around, like sort of, like clapping along, yeah, like old people at a gig, just like very good, sort of trying to be polite.
Well, he might be so bold, or maybe just drunk, that any that showed a reaction like that he would kind of grab and dance him around a spin or two. As he kind of stopped, then would stomp his feet and clap his hands as he's saying.
Yeah, it gets after the mournful songs, and there's a sort of a grim feel. Nar picks up with his dwarven drinking song, and the mood changes. Elves are dancing, and to the point that's probably where you stop remembering what happened.
Can I, at any point during the evening, talk to Thranduil? Like,
yeah.
Can I get okay? So at some point here, Cynric gets the courage up before he's too drunk to like make a fool of himself, and he moves over to wherever Thranduil is at this point during the night, and he clears his throat. I've been thinking. I wish for the last time to hear the title Mourner. That is not how I feel anymore. Like you have spoken of that sword there, and of the Green Father. There are too many sparks of hope in this world for me to carry a title so drear and down. I would wish the last time it was spoken is by your tongue. And for now, I shall go by title Elf Friend. If you would have it.
A smile comes across his face, and he says, it gladdens my heart to hear so. It does. There is a lack of hope in this world, a lack of belief that we can change things for the better. My people are guilty of that more than most, I think. But if you would have it so, then so it shall be. Cynric, elf friend.
Yeah, he takes a deep breath and pulls himself to like his full height to try to look as proud as possible in his elven dress gown thing. I would carry the word of hope. Carry the word of your hope to every corner that I fight my way to. Together we shall see this world in the light again.
Let us not let the spark die out. Let us turn it into a roaring flame.
Here, here. And then he like holds his glass for like a cheers.
Yeah. Cling.
And then he put like he was gonna down it and then like thinks he should be slightly more elegant, and so just takes a big drink and then turns and goes back probably to some corner and during the background of all of that, you probably got Nar and the people clapping and Nar's boisterous song and whatever.
Awesome.
And Beregond has basically, once he's had a few drinks, he's just going to revert to he's determined to sneak up on an elf, and basically he's spending the time trying to get up silently behind an elf and speak to make them startled, see if he can ever do it, just suddenly speak in their ear, just see if he can ever sneak up on an elf.
Have you got the boots on, the new boots?
Ooh.
After a while, he'll pull on the boots.
In that case, you are amazed at one stage. You've tried a few times this evening. And also, it's become a sort of game among many of the guards here. Seeing Beregond try to sneak up on them, and they'll like let you get close, and they'll turn around and like point, like But this one particular guard, who you've been trying to get since the start, who had been outside of your room, with the new boots on, you find yourself moving quickly and quietly, more so even than usual. And so you get to a point where you're behind him and he hasn't turned around.
I'll just cough loudly.
He's like standing, he's looking at the merriment of Nar, and you can see like a sort of smirk on his face. Not an impolite smirk, one of like, that's quite nice. And then you cough and he just goes, it's like something you've never seen before.
Then I start dancing. I'm so happy at that. I go dancing madly.
And he like kind of like slaps you in the back and he laughs, and he goes and dances with you. And you spend the evening in merriment and excitement. Okay, so here's the loots.
Just one time that evening, as we're dancing, I pause and look slightly doubtfully at Faroth and the sword, but then I dismiss it and carry on.
So, Beregond, your boots. They let you ignore the first level of weather-related exhaustion in a session. And you can cast Spider Climb using one charge. It has 3 charges. And it regains 1 whenever the boots are in direct light of a sunrise.
Do you mind copy some of this into the chat? Because I can't take all those notes, I think, for every item.
I'll do that. I'll do mine. I'll get there in a minute.
The comb. Once per session, you can have advantage on a deception, persuasion, or intimidation check against orcs, goblins, or trolls. So I'm putting it in the chat here as well. Cyneric, this armor sets Ciaru's armor class to 18.
Wow.
Knew it would be more than mine. Wonderful.
But that's what you're hoping for, right? And then you can use your inspiration if an attack is going to hit her to have it hit you instead. I don't know if that's already a thing you can do, but that's something you can do. I
had to defend her ability, but now I've got to take the hit. That's cool.
Nar, your cloak allows you to add double your proficiency to a stealth roll if you're standing still, and once per session, roll a stealth roll with advantage. Syrian stuff I will put in the group afterwards. And Faroth. is bam.
And how do you pronounce that again? Sorry.
Lachtuan.
Lactuan. Oh my god.
So it's a great sword, restored. It is a Bane of Orcs. It does +1 damage against Orcs, including the +1 of it generally, and can crit them on a 19 to 20.
Oh my god, that's so incredible. And am I okay to still bear the short sword and my broadsword? Can I have that on my back, or do I have to get rid of one?
No one has asked you to return the sword, so I guess if you don't mention it, maybe they won't either.
Okay. Dude, that's incredible. Thank you. Oh my god. Akhwan. Shall bear it proudly.
Right. So, yeah, I guess you spend the last moments of your night kind of looking at these beautiful things and dreaming of what will happen in the future. So you wake up the next morning, probably feeling a little bit worse for wear, and you basically get to spend a few weeks here in the Woodland Realm, enjoying the hospitality, kind of resting up, and learning about Mirkwood. Like you'll go on patrols with some of the Elven guards here, and they'll show you kind of some of the secret ways through the Woodland Realm. They'll show you, what to avoid and what to look for in Mirkwood, and some of the tricks that the forest often plays. And it is maybe 2 weeks of this later when you're called before Thranduil once more into the throne room.
Can I just say one thing that Faroth would have been doing in that 2 weeks, if that's okay? So I was just putting that on my character sheet, so it's there.
Okay.
So with this new blade, Faroth has had training. He is able to use martial weapons, but he's not used to a blade of this size. It's much bigger than the blade of Anarion. So he actually seeks out. If you remember, there was a female elf scout who I believe was the one who caught us on the borders of the of Mirkwood when we first arrived. He figures that she will be like a pretty competent warrior. So if you don't mind, he is going to spend a lot of that time training with this new sword to make sure he can use it efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you would need to. Like, it's a great two-handed blade. Bigger even than your broadsword, and it requires a different sort of fighting style. The elves have a tendency to use no shields, just long sort of curved blades. And some of the techniques work pretty similarly, and so she's able to happily is able to teach you some of these techniques.
Perfect, and always with a smile. A cheeky smile.
I would probably do some training similarly, though with much less fancy weapons, but riding around and scouting and hunting and things like that, he would be right up his alley, and especially anywhere that he could use CRO in these slightly nicer woods, now bedecked in possibly some of the most expensive. Like, if you imagine how, with the mithril armor that like Frodo had, and that worth a fortune, now there's like a horse's worth of almost mithril at least. That's probably like a city, like a small town's worth of wealth on his horse. And I'm sure she takes no time at all getting used to it, because it's like wearing nothing.
Yeah, it gives her the countenance of a real warhorse when she wears it. Like, even though it's delicate, it also has the sort of shine and grandeur of an elven steed, you know.
And as for everyone's getting very friendly with different elves all the time, Cynric is almost trying to avoid the attentions, because it must be almost hellish being surrounded by such beautiful people all of the time.
Yes.
And his feelings are elsewhere. So he spends as much time with the men who still look like women. He probably like several times doesn't realize. But rather than fraternizing as much as the others.
For Nar, probably about halfway through this time, he'll wake up one morning and discover that the elf hospitality has been getting the better of him, and he'll struggle to fit into his armor. So after that, he'll kind of begin eating subdued portions, and he'll also seek out, I imagine, do they have any kind of crafters, any kind of smithies here?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
So he would seek out that area and basically do some of his blacksmithing, beat some metal to kind of try to get himself back into shape. He also has some recouping to do. He still hasn't been quite his old strength. Facing those numerous spider bites so soon after getting hit by the Morgul blade. So he'll spend time doing that, and at some point he'll begin working on trying to do something a little more fine, like a pendant or a necklace in the image of that stag, and offer it as a humble gift to the king when it's appropriate.
Nice.
Shows its appreciation for all that they've done.
And Beregond will sort of adopt this elf maid as his guide to the city, and be constantly asking her about this and that, and referring to what few treasures he's heard of in the past, and seeking out other stories of wonders that have been lost, things around the world, just his natural curiosity. He's seeing the wonders that there are in the elven halls. He's not trying to steal any of them, but he just loves them. And but he's hearing of ones that are lost in other places, and just feeding his knowledge and chatting up and carrying on his Lothian and Beren tactic.
I think you would be brought to the vaults on a guided tour, where there are treasures beyond counting, ancient and beautiful. But there is a story that she would say of the lost fortress in the mountains of Mirkwood, the Eagle's Watch, where a fortress was lost many centuries ago, and with it many treasures, beautiful tapestries, white jewels, all sorts of things that the elves find precious, still up there, seemingly up in those mountains.
And when she talks about one in particular, one that inspires her, I'll promise to return that one to her. I'll promise to find that one and return it to her.
She smiles like a polite smile, but she has the look of like, that's not possible. I guess she would talk about the tapestry depicting.
Can I put in here?
Yeah.
Depicting the fair face of Sauron before he fell.
Yes. Yes.
The only surviving image of Sauron when he was fair, created by an elven an elf.
Unbelievable. Yes. So she tells you the story of they have this beautiful tapestry created millennia ago, when Sauron was a friend to the elves and Sauron was a friend to all, and he would give advice, much like Gandalf or Saruman does now, on this beautiful tapestry of Sauron's unbelievably
Working with Celebrimbor.
yeah, to create these rings, and it's seemingly it's still there somewhere in this fortress. The king, when you come to him, Nar, and he presents his gift, he actually kind of doesn't know what to say. He's surprised, and he looks at it and he says, "This is fine craftsmanship, Master Dwarf. It has been hundreds of years since I've seen this green father, and often I think of that moment and the beauty of it, but also the fleetingness of it, that I had never seen him again. This is a beautiful reminder, and I thank you genuinely for this gift."
I have seen many things, some that would cause many men to fear, many to rejoice. The sight of that creature is one that I will happily take to my grave.
From where do you hail, Master Dwarf?
The Iron Hills, Your Highness.
I have not had good dealings with the dwarves of the Iron Hills, but it is my hope that, well, with this gesture and the gesture that I have made to you, perhaps in the future the dealings could be more favorable.
At that, Nara will become somewhat flustered, but kind of gruffly state his agreement of that sentiment and nod.
So Farath, as you're training with this elven woman, she's beating the crap out of you, to put it simply, and consistently does so. It's a sort of I would imagine that elven training is a bit like karate training, where it's a lot of it is to do with like you have your guard high and she just like slaps you with the side of the sword to like show you where it's incorrect, and that's the kind of relationship it is. She does laugh a lot, and so do you, but it's very much like you're the dope and she's the master. But she is showing you slowly but surely what the techniques are, and you are getting a feel for it over time.
Yeah, and every time, like, I think she's surprised because every time he does get like a slap round like the ear with the flat of the sword, like he just smiles more because he's just like, I know I'm never going to be able to beat you because you're an elf and are supernaturally quick. But yeah, like I like to think every now and then, like he gets the odd, cheeky, unfair move in, but like at the end of the day, like it's nothing compared to her skill.
Yeah.
Does she have a name? I don't want to put you on the spot, Lloyd, but does she have a name?
Yes, it would be. You've put me in the spot.
I'm sorry, Matt. We'll come back to it. Like, we'll come back to it.
I'm on a web page of Cinderin people's names.
Oh,
how about Lainiel? Lainiel.
Lai. What was the rest?
Can you post it?
Laniel. I'm posting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the name.
Lainiel. Excellent. Yes. He's going to be very friendly with her, he decides. Perfect.
So you spend these 2 weeks enjoying yourself, getting training, looking at all these beautiful things. Some of you even crafting beautiful things. But it's then that Thranduil calls for you to his throne room. and he says, "You are welcome in these halls for as long as you like, but there is something that I would have you do."
You need to only name it, Elf King.
There is a creature in the mountains which were once beautiful outlooks for my people, retreats to look out over the world to send signals to far Imladris and Lothlorien, but now they're held by a darker power, a servant of the enemy. And this cannot stand. You are mighty, that much is clear. And so I'd ask this of you. Go to those mountains, to the ancient holdfast of Thranduil, the Eagle's Watch. The place is clouded, and my vision cannot pierce it. The enemy dwells there, hoarding treasures of my people, ancient treasures, and I want them back. And from there, they spread shadow and death and fire. And from there, this curse that hangs upon Greenwood the Great spreads every day. I would have you go there and clear it, reclaim it for the elves of Mirkwood.
Baragon sort of eyes light up at this, but he's waiting for somebody else to speak.
I cannot speak for the others, but I will see it done.
I wish to bring the light into this place. So I shall go with you now.
Well, we've come this far. It would be a shame to break from what seems to be a tradition now. We, as elf friends, shall see it done.
Nar nods, because despite his words that he couldn't speak for the others, he turns and eyes them expectantly, like saying, "Okay, come on."
It is my thinking, my assumption that there will be many enemies there, more than even you, great heroes, could manage alone. And so I will send with you some of my warriors in the hopes that we can reclaim this castle. I do not expect 4 of you, while your friend recovers, to go and storm a castle on your own. But you are great heroes, and I have seen you do things that I did not expect possible. And so I put you in charge of this mission, for ill or for good.
Is there someone... not wanting to trouble you for more time, but is there someone else we could speak to about the details? What foes lie up there, or...
That is what I'm uncertain about. As I said, my vision cannot pierce this cloud that hangs over the place. I know that in ancient times, we lost this castle to trolls. A particular troll, they call him the Silver. Great and garbed in silvery armor. Much more crafty, much more clever than those who you would see in the woods and those who you would see in the mountains. A different kind of troll, an older creature. I believe, that it is he who rules from this place.
Lloyd, I don't know whether it would be an intelligence or a law check or anything, but Farrell's mind goes back to that old statue that they once saw of. I know it wasn't anywhere near here, but is there a check I can make to see if there's a connection?
Yes, you could make a shadow lore check if you like.
Yeah, definitely. It's not great. That is, it's like 13.
You think it's possible? Like that troll had a crown on, and other trolls seemed to bow to him, but you're not certain.
Right. Okay. He turns to his friends and he says, "Oh, sorry."
Sorry, go on.
He just turns to his friends and says, "It is unusual for a troll to have standing. They're often simple beasts. They often fall to the influence of others that direct their mighty strength. This is troubling."
Quite so. I wonder how
That-
long he lives for. How long ago did this place fall?
It was, and he thinks like for a long time, centuries, longer. When Dol Guldur was taken, there was a great invasion. It was around that time that we lost the mountains.
I don't. Forgive me. I don't really know the life of trolls. Do you think this silver could still be there, or one of his lineage, or?
It seems to me unclear as well. I do not know these life cycles. But from what I can tell, there are many minions of Sauron who have lived for centuries, if not longer. It's entirely possible that through some dark artifice, this creature still lives.
Mm.
And there are many kinds of trolls. Olog is the word that they use in Sauron's speech. And they are a varied race, from simple ogres rot in muck all the way to whatever this is, more powerful and more clever than any orc.
Not for long, Faroth mutters. And with that, he shoulders his belongings, makes sure that his new blade is fastened securely to his back, along with the two on his belt. And he looks expectantly to his companions. He's ready to go back to business.
I am with you, Captain, says Beragond.
What of Syrian? Is he to come with, or is he studying?
Syrian recovers still. The wound seemed trivial, but those stings went deep. Those bites, the poison has taken us longer to remove than we thought. He recovers.
Perhaps you will find something in the text in your library, or something that may come in useful. And we shall return alive to him, hopefully. How many men are we to take, or how many elf?
30.
Very well. Looks like you may get some use out of that cloak after all, Noah.
No promises.
Faroth is genuinely surprised and finds it very difficult to hide the fact that they are now going to be with a company of 30 elven warriors in this fight. And he feels confident.
Yeah, I think Cineric's like trying to play it cool, like talking about the military decisions, but like at the same time, like being in charge of elves is just mind-boggling.
Right?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So you can make preparations, I suppose. You'll speak with Lionel, or however you say that.
Yeah, I think he will. He obviously is putting his everything together. The blade obviously are now on his back, and he stops and notices her there. She's obviously very sneaky, very quiet, and he's going through his belongings, and he opens his palm to her, and he sees that and she sees that there's this very simple bone necklace from the time that he spent behind enemy lines, as it were, in the kingdom of Arnor. He found himself one solitary night desperately trying to cling on to his identity, to think of home. He carved the symbol of Anarion into this simple bone necklace, and he just presses it into her hands. And he says, Laniel, I wish for you to look after this for me. I'm going to come back for it, but of any of the Elven warriors in this place, I know that you are the one that will keep it the safest.
A heavy responsibility, Farath. I will keep it for you until you return.
He gives one last lingering look and then turns and walks out the door. And he's on his way.
Beregond also tries to sneak up on his Luthian, who's actually called Gleogwend of Thranduil's Hall. And he says you know where I am going, and you know what I have promised to return with. And I shall return it to you and make it a cloak to hang over your shoulders. And he tries to kiss her hand.
She allows it and she says, "You're a strange man, Beregond. But I do hope you're successful."
And he goes off to join the others, feeling inspired. And hope, having spent some time in Thranduil's halls.
Excellent. So I think before we make our way to the mountains, we might take a quick break there.
This is amazing, man. That was so cool.
Glad
There
you
were
enjoyed
so
it.
many cool things. Oh my god. What was the elk called?
The Green Father, or Father of the Forest. Many different names.
That was amazing.
I think you called him the Forest Father, and then I kind of just had Cynric tumble over his words a bit and call him the Green Father.
Yeah, I like that though.
I did too.
Yeah. Right, sit a sec.
Okay, yeah, I'll be back in a second. I'm just looking through the wiki for Sauron for like names from before when he was not corrupted, and there are like 100 names. It's ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Mental. Titles and other names and all this mental stuff.
Hmm. I was just checking over my notes. Just making sure everything was in place. Part 7, because I've called them all the road to something, and that one. This one was a bit long and unwieldy, but because like, usually it's been like the road to Henathanan or the road to Ascilius or the road to the Black Mountain Mines, but this was like the road to the Elven Halls, a return, and the Lost Mountain Halls. I feel really sorry for Jay because like a fight is a dime a dozen. You can battle anything in any system, but to sit at the table of an Elven King, one from such a famous like setting as well, is special.
That felt to me like the calm before the storm as well. Like we're all having such a great time, like after such a horrendous ordeal, and now we're back into it again. I'm like, I love it so much. I love that so much. I can't even describe how awesome that was.
I mean, it has been almost 2 hours of us just bathing and eating and
like only a lot of video games, you know?
I really love. That's what I was like. I have to sing. It's got to be done. No one has sung.
Yeah, no, it was a good call. I did very much enjoy all of that. I've been listening to your soundtrack on repeat. They're all very battley tunes. It made the dinner very dramatic.
Right.
I wasn't sure how Nar's gift would go over because I know like the relationship between the elves and dwarves, and it carries over to their crafting as far as like whose is better and whatnot.
Yeah. But to me, it seemed like that was a really strong gesture, Even if he looks at it and he's like, "Meh, I could do better," But like the gesture is important.
I'm not sure how it is, but I know there is some beauty in dwarves craftsmanship, but I don't think it's. I guess as elegant as probably the elf is. Theirs is probably a lot more decorative, and that's kind of what he was going for. It wasn't like a weapon or armor. It was, So.
You're gonna have to. Didn't mean to do this to you, but you're gonna have to change my overlay. If you've still got the template.
Yep, I'll figure it out.
Cool. Or maybe I don't come back from this and it won't matter. New character.
So you can set out that evening, or maybe the next morning, with the elves in tow, making your way now through Mirkwood. With so many of you and so many elves among you, plus all the learning that you've done in the 2 weeks, it's not a case of like walking down the same road for an hour, or you've figured it out between all of you. In your training, the paths of Mirkwood, and you're able to get where you're going without too much hassle. Nothing stops you en route either. Nothing would be so foolish as to attack a column of 30 elves. And so you move through the forest unhindered. You've brought plenty of food with so many of you as well. The elves are conditioned to eat lembas bread when they're traveling, and you've had some of that. It's kind of flavorless, but it'll fill you for a day from just a little bite. So it keeps you full of energy. So It's probably a week at an elven pace, which is what they are setting, which is difficult to keep up with, especially for Nar, through Mirkwood. Before you get to the foothills of these mountains, you can see them through the canopy as it kind of thins a little bit. This ridge that kind of cuts across Mirkwood, just above the midway point if you're going north to south. And here in these foothills, you can see an ancient gate that lies ruined. You can see it was once elven in design, very delicate but sturdy, but it has since been kind of twisted into different shapes, spikes, and there are animal skulls arrayed around and like on some of these delicate bars that once made up the elven gate, although no sign of orcs themselves. There seems to be a ruined settlement beyond this gate. Most of it burnt down. Nice old style elvish dwellings of stone. Mostly have been destroyed, and you can see like trees and stuff growing among them. But there is a sort of a familiar scent of corruption about this place. Looking beyond this settlement, you can see off into the distance this mountain. And maybe 600 feet from where you are, you can see that there's a stair carved into this mountain that goes kind of zigzagging upwards. There's also a large gate at the base next to these stairs, and you can see that on the stairs there are occasionally these like outposts, like almost like towers that are jutting from the mountain, as if they're like glued to it or something. They are elvish in design. You can tell that immediately. There's no way orcs will be able to craft something that nice. But since then, they have been changed. You can see that there is sort of like with the gate, where there was kind of a sweeping, sort of curving motions. Now it is angular and spiked. There is sheet metal and iron all over the place on these once elven outposts.
I think as they approach, Faroth will either give a motion. Actually, they might not. If they're setting the pace, they might not pay attention. So in that case, Faroth just breaks away from the this athletic march of the elves just for a moment, and sinks to his knees and he presses his ear to the earth. Going to make a DC 15 survival check, and if I succeed, I get a piece of information about a quarry we are looking for. Whatever you want, though, Lloyd, really. 15 on the die, so yes, I make that.
So you know for sure that this is a hold of the enemy. You can kind of hear the rapid footsteps of goblins within, but also occasionally you will hear a much louder, much heavier footfall that you would associate with the trolls. You reckon that this is the place you're looking for. You also think that it's pretty heavily fortified and pretty heavily guarded.
And I think Faroth, though he knows that the elves' senses are incredibly keen, but nonetheless, he sort of tries to make his way to the front of this pacing march, and he mutters this, that we can expect a lot of resistance, and it seems more than one troll. Definitely more than one.
Yeah, you can say to like the elf at the front or whatever, and he would nod. And like as one, they like look in your direction, like a what are we doing now?
Faroth almost jumps at the like the unified like instant turn of every single one of them. He's like, "Oh Jesus, we didn't say that," but and he sort of takes pause and he looks to his companions as if to say, "Should I tell them what to do?"
You turn unsure, and Syrian's still trying to maintain his coolness, like canters forward on his now beautiful CRO. Is there only the one way up those stairs?
Well, it looks like there's stairs, but there's also like a big gate that's like
In front of it.
So gates like here, and then like here, like off to the right of the gate of the stairs. There's also like a gate.
Baragon.
And the tower's flanking. Okay. You go, guys.
Go on.
These
He's also
Elven
looking at it.
Caius, you go for definite this time.
He's also looking at the cliff faces, the ways up, trying to see if there's. He is a burglar. He's getting into climbing walls, and with these new boots that he's been trying out over the last, he's now able to attempt climbs that he has never tried before, and he's trying to spot if there's some unseen route up towards the entrances, or some way in that maybe isn't protected, maybe isn't guarded, that he could sneak up and take a look in.
Yeah, you could give me a perception check, certainly.
Perception. No advantage here. Can I use my... Oh no, it's a perception against orcs, trolls. No. Okay. So this is a 12. Okay,
so there's no obvious route and none that you can see. Like you would think, if you imagine the staircase kind of zigzags upwards, and at most of the zigs or zags, there's like an outpost. You think that if you were to like climb around the outside maybe of those, you might not get seen, but you're not certain. But it's a long climb as well. It's hundreds of feet.
I have a suggestion, if I may. We must look to our strengths. Me and Cineric have had some time to be able to become more familiar with these lands, and we should buy into the fact that our allies here are also intimately familiar with it. Perhaps if we are to allure some of the forces down, we can then meet them with a volley from the darkness that the trees provide us.
And maybe if, whilst they are under attack, I could use that distraction to sneak up and take a look in.
Perfect.
I do concur with that plan. I think we are much better down here than we are up there.
At least for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Elven towers, are they like up the like flanking the stairs all the way up the mountain?
Yeah. So, if you imagine like it's like a vertical stair almost, right? And it zigzags.
Yeah.
Like a tower is maybe, each tower is maybe 50 foot tall. So like it would stretch for those 50 feet, and then there would be a gap of about 50 feet, and then another tower.
Right. So we have, going up those stairs, no cover, and they have ample cover, and can see us from all angles while shooting at us. There's going to be a tower to get up.
Suddenly Faroth smiles, an idea forming in his mind, and with a smile that is halfway between mischief and madness, he looks towards Na, and he says, "Na, our fine dwarven brethren, it cannot be argued that you are indeed the loudest of our number. And if one solitary dwarven warrior were to demand a challenge for a place just out of the range of those towers, then perhaps it might welcome some of the forces down, and we can spring our trap.
My dear friend Farath, I'm not sure if you're trying to flatter me or insult me.
Indeed, Master Dwarf, I always intend to flatter you.
Very well. Tell me where to stand, and I will draw them out.
Am
Ben
I
Farrell.
to understand? Would you like, Captain? Says Bergon to Faroth. Would you like me to join in the ambush, or would you like me to use that as cover to sneak up and take a look?
Baragon, you need not call me captain, but you can tell me one thing. Those towers, what range do you believe? You are a man who is very proficient with bow. Where do you think we should stand so we should be out of range? Is that something you'd be able to surmise, or?
I think one of the issues that you would face is that like the higher the towers get, the further their range is. And so even though it won't be accurate, they'll still be able to shoot a very long way from up there.
Yeah.
And in front of the steps, there is this large gate that we have to get through, right?
Yeah. Well, no, you can either take the stairs or go through the gate, I guess, you know?
Oh, the gate goes directly into the mountain, or the stairs go up. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I thought that was clear.
Stairs, right. That.
Oh, crap.
That's why I was asking about routes.
New plan. Let's forget the making Nar draw them out, because that might not work then in that case.
Yes, although I think if we can draw them out, that is excellent. However, we are fighting possibly, a numerically superior force, I'm guessing, inside a fortress. They have no reason apart from their own stupidity to come out here.
We could do a tactical retreat, perhaps. Lure them back.
They may be stupid enough to fall for it.
They'll be far more confident if they see the four of us, and they don't see our elven friends.
From where we are at the tree line, or hidden within this village, do we see any activity at this gate? Is it solid, shut, or do people?
It's shut. You can see that there are like some barricades in front, but there's nobody standing at the gate. You can see like smoke coming from the second tower up. So there's obviously some sort of fire in there.
Right. We could try breach the gate. I don't know what that might require. I presume. Are they like very big, like troll-sized gates that only trolls could push open?
They're big, certainly. They're like a gate for a castle, you know.
Yeah.
Wooden doors.
They're wooden. Okay, solid wood. Right.
I assume that doors of that size are opened by like a mechanism of some sort.
Yeah, that'd probably be a guess. Or trolls.
Or trolls, yeah. Which we know are there some there.
Is there any chance that we'd know if these orcs and trolls would be susceptible to the sunlight, like we discovered the orcs that were hiding in the mines that time as well?
So you know that all orcs, goblins, trolls don't enjoy the sun, but only stone trolls turn to stone in the sun.
Right on.
Most of them just don't like being in the sun because it like blinds them and they find it uncomfortable. But
yeah,
it's only one particular kind of troll that turns into stone.
Okay.
Away from the elves, they might have really good hearing. It might not matter at all. But I'd like swing down slightly and like lower myself to Faroth and go, do you think they're stupid enough to fall for our impressions of orcs if we walk to the gate and just spat that foul language?
Well, we've had plenty of exposure to that foul tongue. I don't see why we couldn't give it a go. How's your how's your orc impression, Cedric?
Terrible.
Mine's also pretty bad.
Yeah.
And also, would they even answer a hail from two random orcs outside?
I don't know how they work. I don't know how intelligent the people on watch are. But
Either way, we don't. Yeah, it's a good thought. Either way, I don't think we have an awful lot of time. I think, Lloyd, is it daylight currently?
Yes.
We don't particularly want to do this at night because if we have to retreat, then it would be hell. Like trying to retreat back through the forest with a bunch of orcs and trolls chasing us. So I'd say the sooner we strike, the better.
I have a thought. Yes, the towers can fire down at us from some range here, but the casualties will be unbelievable if we march up that way.
Yeah.
This village, well, there's wood and trees growing through it, right? But there's also like ramshackle buildings, and I know you said some of it was made of stone, but like the roofs would probably have been various thatch or wood. Perhaps we could start a fire in front of the gate. It is wood. It will burn and smoke them out.
Yes, in fact, maybe such a distraction at the gate may avert their eyes from the true foe approaching up the stairs.
We could do it that way.
Beregond, how would you feel about leading a mission of subterfuge up the stairs whilst the rest of us cause havoc in front of the gate?
I may not take the stairs, but I'll certainly head up.
Yeah.
Beregond, I don't know how many people dwell within each of those towers, how many orcs, but each one you could secure or blockade or something would be one less to be shooting at us while we go up. You could take some elves with you and hit each tower on the way up, and maybe under some sort of cover and some sort of distraction, you could surprise most of them, some of the towers.
And if we get elves in those towers as well, they'll be able to rain hell down upon our foe.
Thoughts now? You know of structures. What do you think it will take to burn that gate? Or at least to damage it and smoke them?
Well, most of my knowledge is tied to stone, but as you say, wood burns. Even if we don't burn through it, it's something that I'll have to deal with.
We have multiple horses with us. We could bundle up wood, drag it over there, have it lit by flaming arrows of elves or the like. They at least shouldn't cut on immediately.
Really, we're dealing with ifs and buts. We're not really going to be sure of how this is going to go until we just go for it. So, Beregond, if Beregond is happy leading a mission of subterfuge to get inside to get up there somehow, and we do our own thing. At least we're attacking on two different fronts.
So, we want to basically. I could go up alone and just investigate, or I could take a group of, for example, five, maybe 10, 5 elves, and try and take out maybe the tower that's got the smoke coming out of it, and use that for covering fire as you draw off the attack coming out of the main gate. Am I understanding the plan?
I think so. And
Yeah.
it would then mean that the rest of the elves can fire from a position of advantage.
I would suggest you taking more elves than that. I don't know how many elves we need down here, but the elves would be useful taking the towers, multiple towers. I don't know, I don't know how many people, how many orcs you might
take out all the towers. You mean, and then
I don't. How many towers going up? Is there a number, Lloyd?
You can't really see it's a mountain, right? So you can't really see how many there are, but
right,
they're interspersed pretty regularly.
So that, like, potentially like a dozen or something. Yeah. And I just expected you to hit tower after tower, clearing the way, so it'll be safer for us going up. And some of those may well be empty. Just because that one has smoke coming out of it doesn't mean the others aren't asleep or something. And if we hit now during the daytime when they're hiding, then they'll be weaker or more surprised. And then once we have the
let's face it as well. I don't think we need to worry too much about the elves. Like, I think they'll be able to look after themselves as well. So if Baragon goes up with, say, a force of 10, would 10 be enough?
I was even going to suggest he has the majority, so they could hold most of the towers. 15 at the least, because there are many towers. Like, if there are a dozen towers up there.
Okay,
you want to hold
let's split it down the middle then, yeah.
Yeah.
15 and 15.
And ours just hang back in this village, and once we set the gate alight, anything that stumbles forth or anything that comes down that's distracted, they can just launch wave upon wave, and we'll run skirmish.
Faroth will finally, because we should totally just do this, but Faroth finally consults with the elf that he spoke to earlier for counsel, just in case they have any input, because they're pretty good at this, right?
They would say that they concur that it's probably the best plan that you're going to get in this situation where you're trying to take a fortress with less people than they're inside.
Right on. Then let it be done. Baragond, be safe.
So quickly, I'll sort of scout. I'll sort of discuss with the elves possible approach routes to get up. I'll suggest because of the boots, unless they're all skilled at. They're probably all skilled at climbing and even spider climbing, to get up the walls. But if they're not, then I can go up first and drop a rope, and just discuss this the route, and then once we've planned that, I'll make my move and go up using the light of the lower sun. I'll come in from the direction of the lower sun, not obviously silhouetted, but from the direction of the lower sun. So if anyone glances in my direction, they're going to be blinded by the sun. Though I'm not silhouetted against it.
Okay.
And so it's the direction they don't want to look in. And then sneak up, and we'll go to the first tower and try and take out however many orcs are in there, and if there are any orcs, if there aren't, investigate how many there are, and then try and take them out as quickly as possible. Proceed up to the next.
Just before you go up, just to discuss, so we didn't have to do it retroactively, some form of communication. So either using like a hand mirror and shining it, or like putting up a flag or something out of a tarpaulin, not tarpaulin, like cloth out the window, or lighting a fire. Some signal that we know that each tower has been claimed without being able to talk to you.
Yes, I'll.
It can be any and all of those things.
We'll basically put out some fine bit of elven that won't be you probably won't be able to see from this distance, but the elves with their sharp vision will be able to see, and
Sure.
The orcs won't notice, probably, hopefully in the sunlight anyway.
We can always do it on the sides, like pointing towards us, so it's harder for the towers at the back to see that.
Yeah.
Okay, just so we know how it's going. You can also have a panic button one if you want.
Um,
I'm just cautious
Yeah.
about sending you off alone, Maragond, is all.
That's when you blow the horn.
just watch. Yeah, just watch, and I think you'll know. Orcs. If the orcs discover us, I don't think they're going to be silent.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens first?
Beragond leads a party of 15 up, following shadowy approaches to the base of the cliff under the lowest tower, and heads up to a window away from the rest of the gate, away from the rest of the tower, and try as high up as possible, and tries to make our way down through the first tower, see if taking out any opposition there that we come across, and hopefully securing the first tower.
We weren't gonna start the fire first as a distraction.
No, I think. Oh,
I would agree that Varagon should go first on the first one because
Okay.
Okay.
it's stealthy.
Yeah.
Up until they need the distraction.
So you're using your new boots to climb up underneath the tower, is that right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a weird feeling initially, but you find yourself finding handholds that almost don't exist as you're climbing this like cliff face. Amazingly sturdy on this relatively smooth cliff. You just find all these great handholds and you're able to pull yourself up without much effort at all. And you can come to one of these windows on this tower that faces outwards. And like poke your head in, and you can see that there are 2 floors to this tower. It's not particularly tall, quite stout. On the top floor here, there is just a lot of dirt and litter and bones and things like that. And you can see then it's only half the floor is this top floor, and the stairs that lead down to underneath. You don't hear any noises within. Doesn't seem to be anyone here.
I check the ceiling and sort of scan around.
Yeah, also nothing on the ceiling, but a good call.
And then I'll enter and go down the stairs.
Yeah. So going downstairs, you'll see that underneath there's like a full room. Basically, the stairs lead down, and there is you can see a sort of trap laid here, a very obvious one. But if you were coming from the other side and running into this tower, there's basically a hole that's been cut through the floor here. So if you're trying to flee through into this tower, you would just fall to your death. But you can spot that now from the other side safely. There's also nobody on the bottom floor. Seems to be an abandoned tower.
So I attach one of the tiny elf gauze sort of scarves to the window, drop a rope for the elves to make it up to the second half floor, and continue up towards the second tower, which has the smoke coming from it. I'll snake along the side of the cliff over the gates, sort of keeping to the shadows, and try to approach an upper story window.
So if we get sense that the scarf has been put down by one of our elfin companions, I would have liked to at that point prepared like this kindling and wooden bundles and stuff that then rope to the horses, so we could like dash out there, deposit them, and run and dash back again.
Yeah.
But only when shit goes south. Like if this tower gets all fighty and everything starts moving, then we cause the distraction to pull their attention.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So you prepare and get ready for an eventuality. You can climb across Baragond, and in this tower, you can see that there's, as you look in the window, you can hear any before you see anything talking.
I speak Orcish or anything like that, but it's not the common tongue. It's not Westron.
No.
Are there other windows on the tower?
Yeah. So there's basically one on the side you're on, one on the front, and one on the opposite side.
I'll go to the other one and see if I can hear from. Are there other levels as well?
It's identical in construction to the previous tower, as in like there's a half floor on the top and then a full floor on the bottom. Looking in on the top floor, you can see, now that you take a good look, that there are some kind of small, runty orcs, you would call them goblins, who are like sitting around a fire. And they are kind of just speaking back and forth in this like weaselly sort of tongue.
How many?
There's 5 sitting around this fire.
I'll go to a I'll basically use my rope and I'll using wooden pegs on mortar and things like that so it doesn't make a lot of noise. I'll just attach the rope so the elves can come up and join me.
No problem. Can you make me a sleight of hand check, please?
If I use my inspiration, can I roll a dice and then say I need to use my inspiration,
Yes.
or do I need to say it before?
No, you can re-roll it basically.
Okay. So I'll re-roll it with my inspiration.
Hey.
So I get sleight of hand. I get simply a 10.
Okay. So you're taking these like wooden sort of things that you're hammering in. And mostly it is quiet, but then you seem to hit off something within that kind of makes a sort of, you see some of the mortar kind of like crumble a little bit, and there's like a...
Okay. I'll try and get into some kind of shadow or cover as quick in a quick step.
Okay, yeah, you can make me a stealth.
This is what I'm better at. 25.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's like some crumbling, whatever, and you can hear like a talking inside, and this like long-armed thing kind of like crawls over to the window and like looks, and like hideous, like these big eyes made for living underground, and it like kind of squints as it looks outside, but doesn't seem to detect you. I guess you guys down at the bottom are hidden within the village. So it kind of looks around and it gets a strange smell, but it goes back to what it was doing.
Months, sort of 2 minutes, 3 minutes after it's gone back to what it's doing, I'll go back to what I was doing.
Yeah, you can make me another sleight of hand.
$20.
Yeah. So this time you're able to, like, you've seen the weakness in the mortar or whatever, and you're able to put it in more quietly, and you can create a sort of rope for the elves to climb. And like silently in their armor, they just like are coming up behind you. Now they can't stick to the walls like you can, so they're kind of like on the rope. And one of them looks to you and does like a, what's the situation? Look.
I'll indicate 5 with my hand. Just a question. Can I actually... I'll need 2 hands to operate a bow. Can I sort of somehow hold onto the wall with my feet and fire a bow like that, or do I need... Or is that asking too much?
So the way I have it in my mind is like it's spider climb, but really it's like you can climb any surface. But I feel like it's like a whole body thing, you know?
It's not something I can sort of latch my toes into a crack in the wall, hang down with just supported by my toes, and sort of fire off a couple of arrows.
You could try it, but if you mess it up at all, you will fall to your doom.
I consider it for a second, and then think.
You could maybe throw a dagger. You could maybe throw a dagger if you want to range.
I'm going to just get the elves two to creep round to 2 on each window, basically. So we're coming in from both sides. and should I just send in the elves? I'll send in the elves, basically 4 elves, and then me and the other elf will actually, yeah. Were there any? There were 2 windows on each floor, or
Yeah, so 3 windows on each floor.
3 windows on each floor. On the other floor, did I hear any voices or anything like that?
You didn't take a look in.
I'll go up and take a look in the other. I hadn't realised I hadn't taken.
Yeah.
Counted out.
So the elves are kind of like holding onto this rope, quite impatient now.
Yep.
As you like creep down to the other floor, and you can take a look inside. You can see that there is a pair of orcs in here, and that they are standing by like some sort of contraption. It looks like a pulley or something.
Okay then. So two elves by each window. So that's 6 elves and 4 elves by each window, and we're gonna just run in and charge both floors at once.
Okay. Yeah. So there's no competition here. They're like not expecting it, and you, along with elves, just like basically come in, arrows and swords. I guess down below you would see like a sort of like a twitch basically on the top of this thing, on the top of the tower, as if there's like some sort of mechanism there, but then nothing really happens. Only see it because you're looking so intently, and the elves and orcs are dealt with, or the goblins and orcs.
So after a short while, the another elf handkerchief comes out of the window, and basically following up with the same tactic, going up, and if something goes wrong, I mean, do you want me to? Are we going to go through it bit by bit, or I'm still using that tactic?
No, we're not going to go through every tower. The next tower is similarly equipped, like with just a few here and there, and you're able to get through that one also. But at that stage,
I'll leave one elf in each tower.
Okay.
As a sort of, yeah.
Yeah. So then the next tower, though,
Yeah, my question. One question: what was the pulley thing in the tower that the orcs?
You're not sure. Are you going to pull it?
Does it? Can you describe it? I mean, it's a.
Yeah, it's kind of like a winch, like you would kind of do this with, you know, and there are like ropes attached to either side of it, kind of that would like go through it.
And sort of, can I remove any bolts and see the workings behind it or anything like that?
It doesn't seem overly complicated or mechanical. It's just like it pulls something.
Yep.
You could cut the ropes if you like, or something like that. But
basically, I'm trying to see where the ropes lead. What do they lead to?
Is it down into the ground? Or up?
Upwards.
Upwards.
Yeah. Like up through the roof of the tower.
Can I climb? See how I'll test and see if there's any give in the ropes. If they'll support any weight.
Yeah, you think that climbing on them will probably pull them, you know?
Okay. I'll ask. I'll pull one just 6 inches and see if the other one raises 6 inches.
Yeah, it's exactly it's like something. I'm not on camera.
Okay, so they're attached.
Yes, they are.
So I'll ask 2 elves to hold one rope, 2 elves to hold the other, so that they're holding them so they won't move, and then I'll climb up them to have a look.
Okay, yeah, you can climb up, and you go through like there's a little hole in the ceiling, and up into what is kind of a very small attic, and then there is like a sort of flagpole that looks like it raises out of the ceiling and up above the tower.
Right, so it's a warning flag. It's a system, and I'm not going to disable it at the moment because it might be useful to us to operate. But I'll come down with that knowledge, and then we'll proceed up through the other towers.
So the next
Seeing
one is
how
similar, but the
much-
one after that, when you get to that one, you can see that on the, or you can, when you check in the bottom floor, that there is a troll standing in that tower, quite heavily armored, and he is like watching a bunch of goblins like fight each other and laughing.
Is it a stone troll? Will it react to light?
Doesn't look like it. Stone trolls are a very particular look. This one is kind of, you think it's probably a mountain troll. It's like bigger than a stone troll would be.
Okay. Secured three towers. If I put 5 elves in each tower, we'll be able to provide quite a lot of covering fire, and I think we'd better not try and take out the troll. I'll put out a double handkerchief as a signal. That's as far as I can go.
Nice one. So you see the handkerchiefs come out. The elves tell you that there's a handkerchief come out.
Right. So if we cause this distraction, hopefully whatever's blocking them will... presuming we knew that signal beforehand, but presumably we maybe can lure them further down and they can trap them in the towers, shooting at them as they come down the stairs. So this is our time now.
I'll quickly just try and set up a rope trap over the stairs. So if something comes charging down, we can pull the rope. Maybe using some of the winding mechanism for the flag to pull it taut. So when if the troll comes running down the stairs, we can hopefully trip it using a mechanical power of the winding mechanism to counteract this power of the troll when it.
Okay, I like it. I'll need a stealth check and I'll need a survival check, I guess, is what I'll call it. To rig a trap. Unless you think of a different skill that might work for making a trap.
Sort of. I'm just looking through them. I was sort of hoping to use intelligence, a sort of investigation or something, but I don't know. Using mechanics. But
I'll let you do a straight intelligence check.
Okay. My stealth is 24, and let's see if I can use my intelligence, or shall I use? I might be better on survival, actually. No, I'll use intelligence.
Okay.
Intelligence. And my intelligence check is 19.
Nice one. Yep. So you're able to like connect these ropes together to like this mechanism, and you think it's sturdy enough that if something big were to walk into it, it might trip. Mm-hmm. So down on the ground, you see these handkerchiefs appear. What are you going to do?
Are we generally on horses, or is it just me?
Yep. Well, you have them with you.
Okay. He'd probably look to Faroth and any of the Elven riders that are going to go with him and go, "Are you ready, brother?"
As ready as I can be. However, I think I might remain dismounted. I figured I'd only slow you down, so I can take the fight on foot. I can lead some of the elves on foot. Maybe you can lead some of them. Are they all mounted then, Lloyd, or are only some of them mounted?
So they all took horses with them.
Right. Okay. Well, I was hoping we could lure plenty of them out first, so we can just shoot them, pepper them with arrows as they come out. But
okay.
And then charge them. But it's up to you, really. If you prefer like the straight charge, I understand as a Rohirrim, that might be your prerogative.
What I was going to do was run with the horses with our bundles pre-prepared attached to them, drop them off at the gate, have them set alight, and then we burn the gate, and that's a big distraction. And anything that comes out,
perfect.
you can shoot with your elves. So if you don't want to come with me, you can command the elves shooting.
I will do so. I will wait for your lovely package drop then at the gate. Absolutely.
Okay, and presuming you've put together some flaming arrows or something at this point, or I could just use
Yeah,
the
I
torch.
reckon.
Yep.
Yeah, I reckon they'll have like a line set up ready for flaming arrows. Absolutely.
Right.
If that's okay, Lloyd.
Yep, definitely.
Perfect.
So I was going to say I mount Ciara, but I might never have got off. I like throw you a salute with my axe and shield in hand, and then sort of quite a soft yeah, and he just like bolts out, followed by like this triangle, like lance formation of elven steeds, perhaps, all with this wood being dragged behind them.
Yeah, definitely. Brum, 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 sprinting or galloping towards his gate, where you can get and do like basically like a handbrake turn on your horses and fling these things against the gate.
Yeah, cut the ropes and whatever, and it'll slide up or hammer in, and then we sort of, I don't know, pull to whatever side is safest, and that will be the signal for them to pepper the gate and these bundles with the fire arrows and start. I am aware this process may take a little while, but it should at least be distracting.
And as Cyneric gives the signal and is out of the direction of fire, Farrell, just staring at them, waiting for the signal, says, "Loose."
All these like flaming arrows just thunk into the kindling that you've placed below, and just fire erupts. It's at this stage that there's like "Ooshnak Urak" from the tower near you, Baragond, and like you can see like that flag go up. It comes up in a particular pattern. It's as you've seen in The Hobbit. They have those like flags that are like modular, where different things can go up and down, kind of like semaphore. It goes up like that, and you see like a response from a couple of other towers above, and chaos erupts pretty quickly. You can see coming from that tower, but going up is the troll rather than coming down, and he begins like running upwards. The goblins within begin crawling to the outside of the tower, and like with their creepy goblin climbing ability, like climb onto the roof and begin like training arrows and firing down below as the gate burns. And I think we'll roll initiative.
Yes.
I got a really dramatic, well-timed. I'm on the last song.
Yes.
About 10 minutes in, so it was like that, da-dum, 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 and then builds up to a crescendo. Amazing. It's a proper Rohirrim theme tune, so that was great for me.
I have no dice. That's good. I will be using bones as I have no dice with me.
I do have dice, but I thought I'd use bones to be fair, and it's punishing me already.
No, I don't have bones here. That's interesting.
I'm using it, so it should be available.
Great. It's gone. I'll use dice stream.
So I think maybe I had like 5 of the elves of our 15 on horses, and the other 10 were in archer positions ready, something like that.
Yes.
Although that would make for a slightly ugly lance formation, unfortunately. But... maybe it'll be okay.
9, Cyneric, 5, Paragon. And Always see you roll so many dice. Okay.
See the troll going up or down or something?
Up. He's going up.
It's going up into it, right?
He's going up, yeah. So he is the first thing that you would see is him like barreling up these stairs, like ignoring the next tower and then continuing up, constantly upwards as quickly as he can. And then it would be your turn, Fareth.
So, I mean, I guess I was gonna delay until any enemies are in range. Are any enemies in range yet, or?
No, none of them have come out of the gate as of yet, and the goblins are too high for you to shoot at.
Okay, then yeah, I'll delay my turn then, Lloyd.
Okay, no problem.
I'll basically mutter to the elves, "Unaya Sen," which is draw, and be ready.
Nar, I assume a similar situation.
Correct.
Yep. So the gate begins to like creak, and you can see it begins to open. Very slowly. It is on fire, definitely already, and you can see that's a problem. And as it opens, like crawling through the crack initially, come goblins. Lots of goblins. Looks to be about 50 goblins, just like sprawling out of this place, like in a big rampaging horde. They're like trying to move around this fire. Many of them like try to jump over. Others like run around the outside or like climb up the walls of the outside and like crawl around. And they rush forward. Many of them toting arrows. I'll need Nar, Cynric, and Faroth to make a dexterity save.
Did you say 50?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he said 50.
Nar will begin to laugh and say, "Faroth, my boy, it looks like we might have a fair fight on our hands."
For once.
I'm already regretting using bones. What is this?
Got an 18.
17 for me.
Nice.
7.
Okay, you will take 4 piercing damage as an arrow just like grazes you, as like they release all these different arrows, hideous black goblin arrows that like thud to the ground around you. The elves like gracefully step out of the way of some of them as they land near them, and none of them fall as of yet. Right behind the goblins, coming behind them, is a band of orcs. 10 of them come barreling out. One of them with this big sort of spear, like tries to push a hole in the flaming wreckage in front of him. So he's going to try and do that, which he does. He like sticks his spear in, like almost like with a pitchfork, just like sort of moving this like flaming hay and stuff out of the way, enough that the orc can like run through, just about. And they begin running in your direction as well, but they don't have any projectiles. And then it's Cynric's turn.
I figure, well, given the time of the situation, he probably would have changed the bow at this point, because he's going to attempt to, or just before this point, he's going to attempt to get back to where the other elves are in the village and not, or at least keep pulling back. He's not going to charge right into all of this stuff quite yet. So I'll take a mounted bow shot at the big orc. Why not?
Okay.
3 rolls on bones, and I've got a 10 as my highest of 3 rolls so far.
Yeah.
This is atrocious. That's 15 in total.
Okay, that actually hits.
Excellent. Terrible damage. 5.
So the arrow catches him in the shoulder, and he like looks down at it, and like breaks it off and continues running.
Oh, hang on, sorry, because that was 5. That was 5 base damage with my mod, but then I have +2 for him being a shadow thing, so it's a 7 damage.
Okay, nice one. Okay, coming down from the tower where the troll is going, a bunch of orcs come out of that tower, or like point themselves out of windows, and they like pull and draw and fire down towards all of you. So I need a dexterity save from the 3 of you.
Oh yeah, and my movement is just to carry on running away, and that's what I'm encouraging
Right.
all of these elves to be running and firing. I don't know
Yeah.
what the distance is between the gate and the village, but would probably pull to one flank as well. So like they have 2 foes, like battle lines.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah, basically Farroth is just waiting for them to get in range and for Cedric to get out of the way. My dexterity saving throw, however, is an 8, so that ain't great.
Yeah, so you'll take 7 piercing damage as one of these orc arrows from way up just like catches you in the shoulder. You, I mean, couldn't have expected it. It's from so high up. It looks like it's raining arrows.
I got 16.
You are fine. And Nar as well. Beragond, in your tower, you can see this troll, this big armor troll running up. And as he runs past a particular tower, a bunch of orcs kind of appear there. 5 of them, it looks like.
In his way, sort of, does he have to get past them?
No, they were in the tower he was in. He's running up, and they are like now in that tower.
I'm taking that they aren't really aware of us in the other 2 towers, towers yet.
Doesn't seem to be.
Then basically what we want to do is lure them out and then massacre them. I think we can wait for them to be further out before we start anything. I'll miss my turn.
Okay.
I'll just wait and observe. Basically, the rope is not taut. If the troll comes, my readied action is if the troll comes down, I'm going to tauten the rope and try and trip it. But that's the only thing. I'm going to monitor the situation.
Okay, no problem. The goblin archers, they have climbed onto the roof, and they're going to fire down in your direction as well. So another dex save, please.
First down at the bottom.
Yes.
Right. Do we get advantage on any of these because they're so far away, or?
No.
18 on the dex save.
Okay.
I failed this one.
Oh man.
You'll take 3 Cyneric as an arrow just like grazes against you. And then the elves stand ready to do as you command. Are you going to lead a charge, or what's the situation?
No, because as all of did you delay yours as well, Cyneric?
No, I acted, but I was just saying that all of my elves are going to be firing anyway as we pull back.
Okay, in that case, then yeah, I think all of us should just fire in one go.
Okay, so I'm going to say the elves are going to kill 1d20 plus 5 goblins.
Oh, wow.
6. Okay, so 11 go down. It's just like arrows like thud in, and you can take a shot as well.
I will, and I'll be aiming for the orc that Cyneric went for as well with the longbow. That is 16.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. That is 13 points of damage.
13. Wow. Okay, so he already taken 7.
It is a D8 that the great bow, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Then. Cool.
How far away are the orcs at this point?
They're probably about 80 feet from where you are. Thereabouts.
Okay, so for this turn, as Baroth and the elves release their arrows, Nar reaches down to his belt, pulling out his dwarven horn, and he's going to blow it and then enter into his battle fury.
Nice. And okay, back to the top of the mountain. Troll runs up to the next tower, where a second later you hear a very, very low blow of a horn, and it's answered from the, like, you can hear like an echoing room from the top of the mountain somehow. Faroth.
Yeah, so quick as a flash, he goes, in on there! Basically ordering the elves just to keep firing now, and then if they get close enough, they do that cool thing where they do the uppercut with their blades. You know what I'm talking about.
I know
Faroth is just going to try and take another shot at that orc, but violently misses.
Okay. Yeah, it must be difficult, like staring down 50 goblins and 10 orcs as they like rampage towards you.
Definitely.
And maybe for a second the concentration slips. Okay, now.
So had they been charging? So they like 40 feet, 30 feet away?
They haven't moved yet.
Oh, they haven't moved yet?
No.
So actually they wouldn't be in range of anything I have. Because they're over 60. Screw it, he's going to start charging forward.
Okay, nice. You can have some inspiration. So as the elven line holds firing missiles, Nara is just like, you know what? And just starts running, sprinting towards the enemy. The goblins are going to rush forward. They will cover a lot of ground. Let's see. We're 80, and they will... Okay. I'll need another deck save from you three.
Oh, that is a 19 on the die, so
Nice one.
21.
Dunks into your shield. Okay, Nar, you will take 7. And so will you, Farath.
Yep.
Arrows just continuing to rain down. The goblins are now 40, so they're 40 feet away from you. They're actually on Nar, I guess, right? 30.
I can actually go 40. So
you can go 40 and they move 40. Yeah, so then they... Excellent. So then I will need you... No, I'll do attacks instead. It's either. Okay, but they all miss. These goblins like sort of swarming around you. But they have like shitty knives and stuff like that. None of them are able to pierce through your dwarven chain. But you think that if you're out here on your own, it's going to get worse and worse. The orc band run behind the goblins, kind of swarming in amongst them now. And one of them is going to hurl a spear at you, Nar. But he misses as well. It actually thunks into a goblin standing behind you. And the other big one is going to try and decapitate you with this gnarly spear he has. And he will hit for staggering 7 damage.
So I'll take 4.
And he'll try and hit you at the end, and he shatters the end of his spear on your helmet.
Basically he comes in, and I like lower my head and headbutt the end of his spear and shatter it.
Yeah.
So he gets the cut in, and then as he goes for the other end, it just like breaks ridiculously off your obscenely hard head. And Cynric.
Am I within cavalry charge now that the line has been met, even if the line is just one dwarf?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So I don't have fancy elven words. Well, actually, I might have a few, but he doesn't bother with them. He rears up Ciaro, and they turn, and all the elves probably in sync as one, and they all pull blades, or he pulls his axe, and then he lets out Rohirrim battle charge cry, and they all sweep into the side of this combat.
Yep. So I'll roll for the elves again. It'll be 1d20 plus 5. Ooh, what a charge!
What did you get?
A 20.
Oh!
I will give you advantage on this round of attacks as well, as they're not expecting and you're flanking.
Okay. I'm going to go for the big orc. So as we all smash and these goblins are being sprayed into little bits by the charge and the elves are cutting all in synchronicity, I will aim to plow through the numbers to this orc who's head and shoulders above the rest, dueling directly with Nar and strike him in the back.
Nice.
With advantage. That's 21.
Oh, yes.
And 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage.
Okay, he is done for.
Nice.
So this brutal cavalry charge, the elves have their spears or whatever, and it's like that incredible scene where they're running over goblins and killing them just with the horses barreling through, spears picking up several goblins and fucking them off to the side. And then Cinder comes in and just decapitates this orc. And you have another attack, I believe.
I do actually. I forgot I had that happened. I will swing out at another orc that still stands. Almost get a crit, but don't. And that's for 12 damage. 13,
yes.
Sorry.
Another beheaded orc. Na, 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 smashes into the side of the formation and just buckles the line with this, very small but compact charge that just hammers them from the side. There wasn't really any orcs giving orders, so there was no one to form up, nothing like that. It was just this rabble of goblins, and now they are overridden. Fucking unreal. The orc archers, seeing this charge, they kind of begin running down the stairs to try and help from. They can see that this isn't going well. They need more bodies down there. So I'm going to make them do a dex save not to fall off this rope.
As I imagined it, the rope was lying slack on the ground, and
Okay.
as I twist it, it had sort of come into position. And I'll save it for the troll coming down.
Okay,
I'll let the orcs go past.
Yeah, and they do. They run down past, and the elves waiting here with their bows ready, make short work of them, and one of them tumbles head over heels down the cliff and splats down onto the ground. And Baragon, it's your turn.
So the troll above is still far away. The battle's going fine, but people are aware. We've let loose the arrows from these towers, haven't we? Now, so they're aware of us. I guess that means I don't get a surprise shot in.
You'll get one, yeah.
I don't.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll
aim at one of the biggest. Are there other orcs coming down from higher up?
Yeah, you would hear a commotion kind of up above. As the horn was blown, you would hear lots of "Rah!" Cheering and stuff. You would expect that they'll be either coming down or going into the mountain, one or the other.
But I can't see them yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Then I'll just aim at one that's on, for example, One of the ones that is on Nar, and try to take down one of
the troll is visible if you want to try and shoot him.
Could piss him off.
Yes, when he's near the edge, when I might be able to, if I get a crit or something like that, I'd like to make him misstep and make him fall off. I'll just roll. But it's a surprise, you say?
Yes.
Oh, so nearly a crit. Right. It's certainly a hit.
Yep.
And I do 15.
Nice.
My arrow bites into nearly the back of its knee, but not quite enough to trip it up.
Yeah, it like looks around in rage and lets out this huge roar, like roar, and begins running down the mountainside. And it's at this stage that there's like and the gates are like smashed open, and this enormous troll in this silvery chain. It looks like several suits of elven armor like strapped together across him. He's got this ridiculous crown on his head that like barely fits. So he's like broken it and added more iron to it so it'll fit his head. And he's got this this long like tree trunk, but in the end of it there are like several elven swords like put through it. He lets out this hideous roar, and as he does so, behind him come more and more orcs. 20, 30 more orcs just come running in front of him, and he calls out and he says, "Who dares invade my kingdom?" And that's where we're going to leave today's session.
Oh, come on. God damn it.
Yes, so that's we will pick up next time. Big scary ass troll.
Oh my god, what? We have to wait 2 weeks? Oh my god, that was so good. Just so I'm clear for next time, the charge, was that all of the elves going in then?
That was the elves who were with Syrian.
Okay, that's fine. I was just checking because I didn't know whether I still had some of them with me, because I have a plan for next time in that case.
Like we could continue, but I also think it'll take more than an hour.
No, it will.
And the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then also maybe we'll have Syrian appear at the darkest hour next game as well, which would be nice.
Did that the charge with the 20+5, was that for all of the elves that turn, so they like got a volley in as the charge met?
That was for the elves with you.
Just
who,
me,
like,
right?
yes,
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Brilliant. When
That
it came back
was
round to Sin's
insane.
turn, I was going to talk about like how fucking amazing it would be for a human to lead elves in a charge, in a proper Rohirrim charge, and then spectacular
God.
results.
The dice just
amazing.
they blast you in the morning, big time.
He would be on top of the fucking world as he just ran in there and then cleaved that orc lieutenant, like as Nar like faced off against him and then killed one on the backswing. Just broken the back of them.
That was just unbelievably cool.
It's gonna get intense next session. This dude is no
joke.
No joke.
No, I have a feeling he's going to be problematic.
We'll see. It's going to be exciting. But hopefully we'll get Syrian in next time as well. Maybe with some reinforcements. We can pray.
Yeah, wow.
Cool. Well, I'm going to end the broadcast there. Thank you to anyone who watched. Thank you to my lovely players. Catch you next time.